Hello, dear friends. A very warm and heartfelt welcome from the most beautiful island in the world, Cyprus, specifically PeRuPlays. I am Peru. Yes, and after quite a long time, we are once again taking a dreamy and delightful look into the city transport simulator to thoroughly check out the current state of everything. In the meantime, there have been a considerable number of updates, including the bus DLC. Yes, we will thoroughly examine the entire situation, and I will provide some commentary on it from my perspective. I will also explain why I will certainly not be acquiring the bus update, the DLC, my apologies, and the reasons behind that decision. However, we will delve into that topic later on. I have carried out a substantial and thorough cleanup at this particular point in time, which signifies that I have removed all the lines for the time being and am starting afresh. This went in a direction I didn't like, and it was quite a mess, and now that I have a bit more experience, I see some things differently and would plan it differently, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. Therefore, I believe I will generally adhere to utilizing the tram, contingent upon the present condition of the game, naturally. However, as I previously mentioned, regrettably, this will not be an activity we engage in on a regular basis anymore, such as weekly or anything of that nature. That will no longer occur. Yes, but if I suddenly feel like riding the tram again, we'll definitely do it, because it's generally good for that. What still bothers me to this day, and as I said, why I won't be getting the DLC, I'll reveal to you in this video, in this episode. By the way, if you like it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe, and also share your comments on how you see it and your current thoughts on the game, as I would be interested in that as well. Thank you very much in advance for that. So we are selecting a relatively suitable time here. 10 a.m. is likely acceptable. We are taking the newly established line 103, commencing at Friedrich-Schneider-Straße. What is it called again? Shanghai Square or something similar. I'm not entirely sure. Yes, we will certainly be departing soon. Indeed, and subsequently we shall observe how it progresses, correct? To speak frankly, I am somewhat doubtful. Earlier today, I pondered quite spontaneously, why not embark on a journey, correct? However, indeed, as if it just subtly malfunctioned midway through the route, and the most unfortunate aspect was, I wasn't even surprised or particularly upset. Is that an encouraging sign? I don't believe it is. In any case, here we are at Nakaroma Platz. So now we're heading that way. Exactly. We have about 30 seconds left until we leave, so let's not stay here. I would proceed to securely lock the doors at this juncture, and then I sincerely hope that we do not encounter any sort of collision during our somewhat extended tour here. Is that correct? It's kind of like going through the entire city from north to south. I'm curious to see how long it will take us. I have now successfully deployed a total of 8 trains on the railway line, and here arrives the very first one, our esteemed colleague. The next stop is indeed Helene Weber Street, isn't it? Well, as I previously mentioned, my so-called fresh beginning this morning went somewhat awry immediately. Yes, but that's something we were familiar with even before all the updates. Indeed, I have intentionally ceased perusing any additional update notifications, because in the end, to be completely honest, what truly matters to me is the final outcome. Specifically when I initiate the game and it either operates successfully or it does not, as was the situation earlier today. As I said, I hope this cup passes us by and I can drive here one-to-one without any cuts, which is how I like it best with you. I personally always prefer that as well, and I'm glad when it works out. Oh, I'm way too fast, aren't I? We need to take a little more time, friends. Almost 2 minutes early here. Well, better early than late, right? Yes, so now we have a little time, then we can also talk, friends. I was not particularly enthusiastic about the booster right from the very beginning, as you probably noticed. My attempts to experiment a little bit, at least within the demonstration or tutorial section, began immediately with the handlebar recognition and so forth, correct? I must honestly say, and I want to make it clear here, that I am aware a very dear colleague, whom I greatly appreciate, namely Ansgar from NPLA, has been somehow associated with it since the bus DLC. I really like Ansgar, which makes it all the more painful to say that it doesn't get me. and a game that I do not have confidence in to operate flawlessly in its fundamental version, I will not acquire an update for it, or rather not an update, but no downloadable content, no paid ones, neither bus nor train nor anything else, unless I feel assured that I can engage with it without the risk of it crashing after merely 5 minutes. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted right now, sorry. As I previously mentioned, it is quite understandable that if I do not have confidence in a game to operate smoothly, I am not going to invest any financial resources in it. As I previously mentioned, I will be more than happy to check in here occasionally, but not particularly with the tram bus. I must genuinely express that there are quite a few bus simulators available these days, and they are performing exceptionally well and considerably better than the Sinti Transport Simulator. I must express regrettably, the bus models presented here appear quite nice and everything seems fine, but as I mentioned, the challenges begin with the steering wheels. I also personally believe, and this is just my own personal sentiment, that the execution of the steering mechanism for the wheels is not particularly impressive. But as I previously mentioned, that's merely my personal viewpoint. However, as I previously mentioned, there are numerous individuals who executed exceptionally well and even better, correct? Moreover, they also possess more extensive experience in this area. Particularly, bus simulation is an entirely different domain compared to Trankenhaus Nord. Certainly, I did not intend to interrupt the lady present here. Indeed, we have an abundance of titles, beginning with The Bus, for instance, which is presently being developed by TML. It remains in early access at the moment, but it will not be for an extended period. They accomplished numerous things correctly. In my perspective, it serves as the unofficial successor to OMSI. Initially, I believed it would be Lotus. Yes, by now we are all wiser. It's more likely the bus. I'm very curious, for example, about the economic mode, which is supposed to be coming very soon. Of course, there is also the Fernbus Simulator and Tourist Bus Simulator, which have been around for quite a while. There's also Bus Simulator 21, and a successor is already in sight. In summary, there exist numerous titles in this particular direction, and also from studios that execute it exceptionally well. So is there genuinely a necessity for yet another bus simulator, particularly in a fictional city? Yes, all the others, almost all other bus simulators are set in real cities, which I find very nice. It is also an incentive if, for example, you have a bus route that runs in your own hometown, for instance. Certainly, it is quite enjoyable and more entertaining than on a fictional route. That's of course the case here again. Yes, I have to be around here at some point. It doesn't help otherwise. It's always a personal feeling, but that's just my personal opinion. I find it nicer to drive in real cities. Next stop, Humboldtplatz. Yes, and last but not least, we must of course also mention the candidate, even if some people are tired of hearing about it. But if it works out as the colleagues envision, then it will indeed be a competitor for all bus simulators. If Euro Truck Simulator and American Truck Simulator obtain their coaches DLC, then you will not only have a single city, nor just one state, you will possess the entirety of Europe simultaneously, and even the expansive breadth of America. Indeed, I am convinced that for certain competitors it will undoubtedly prove to be quite challenging, and I harbor my doubts. As much as I find this specific game to be quite appealing, I must confess there's no denying that fact. However, it will indeed be tough, genuinely tough. Therefore, I do not perceive a significant opportunity in that regard. As I mentioned before, to wrap up this discussion, we will end this conversation. That's why I won't be getting any downloadable content, especially not the bus DLC. If it runs stably, maybe I'll consider the new tram model available as DLC, though of course cost is always a factor. I haven't checked how much this piece costs now, but as I said, I would treat myself to it. But as I said, as a tram simulator, it works for me. Alright, there are still significantly too few of them, but as I mentioned earlier, I do not particularly miss the bus in this context. So, dear friends, we are currently nearing the pivotal point. We are approaching nearly the midpoint of the route, and consequently also the collision point from earlier this morning. That was just behind the main station. We are presently encountering an especially distinctive situation that we have not previously experienced in the game. We will be making a stop at the main station, but not exactly at the main station itself, rather on the neighboring side track. Subsequently, we will loop over the primary track and hopefully continue our intended route. Yes, I will observe. I am quite intrigued if that will work out as planned. Unfortunately, yes, I always seem to have such impeccable timing. I find it unfortunate that many things were left unfinished, not completed or even enhanced or corrected. It is simply the way it is, but as I mentioned, there are always other competitors. I still wish end play, of course. Wishing Ansgar the absolute best of luck, break a leg, but with the penalties, my interest has undoubtedly diminished in that. The next stop is Upper Ring. Yes, indeed, Upper Ring. We are already in the surrounding vicinity. We are definitely heading towards the primary station, and everything is stable here so far, which is quite pleasant. What I just noticed is that I haven't accomplished a perfect stop here in quite a long time. I am uncertain what it's due to. Perhaps the new markings. No idea, no idea. Am I too fast once again? Wait, are we at Upper Ring? Hello? Yes, all right. I'm infrequently too swift, yet I am indeed too swift. We consistently used to encounter the issue of tardiness because the timetable was exceedingly tight. That's one aspect. I can't merely complain, I can also acknowledge positive aspects. I am capable of doing that, certainly, and I must highlight it here. For instance, the scheduling issue has been resolved or tailored to the individual player's preferences. You now have the ability to set how rigorously your game adheres to the travel schedules. We just received a green light promptly, apologies. Thus, you can now decide whether it's somewhat lenient or if the schedule is inconsequential, or you can simply opt for the standard schedule. You also have the option to make it demanding and go to the extreme, which I believe is termed strict here. You genuinely have to drive almost to the precise second, otherwise, it's, well, I would say not ideal. So, as I mentioned, this is a commendable idea, and it was also requested by the community. It has been executed. Certainly, naturally, there's invariably something advantageous somewhere, and I genuinely take immense pleasure in emphasizing that. I would absolutely love to share numerous positive aspects about this game because, at its core, I do sincerely appreciate it. And that's why, you know me, folks, when I like a game and I see it's being messed up, it upsets me even more. That always gets mistaken for hate. Quite the opposite. If I like a game, I could climb the walls and escalate until I'm sick of it if it gets messed up and really stupidly messed up. Apologies for phrasing it like this, but you comprehend what I'm conveying. Otherwise, I don't mind. I'll just say yes, if that's how you want it, go ahead. But this is frustrating me because, as I said, the basic idea, the basic structure is great. Great idea also with the economic simulation. Everyone wanted it, but please, why? So, for instance, it operates effectively for a certain period, correct? However, then one or two games emerge, and subsequently it malfunctions once more. Isn't that accurate? To articulate it, utilizing the eloquent expressions of the esteemed Rainer W. Why indeed? Yes, I truly do not comprehend it. So I believe I absolutely need to drive in a more relaxed manner. I deliberately opted to attempt driving in a more relaxed fashion, so it's somewhat more accommodating with the timetable. Presently, it seems to be slightly overly generous, or perhaps I am moving a tad too swiftly, so indeed it is one of the two, although I am not entirely certain which one it is at this moment. So, is there actually anyone else present now? Was there someone else before, or is someone else currently getting in? Come on then, say hello. The door is open. Toss the jackets inside. Well, then I can't help you either. What should I do? If you don't want it, you've already got it. Of course, when I start driving, it's red again, naturally. Oh boy, oh boy. Certainly, without any doubt whatsoever. I must admit, my preferred tram remains the Ulf. You are welcome to express your opinions. Please feel free to share in the comments section which tram is your favorite within the game. However, I find it to be quite adorable and relatively straightforward to control. I can also wholeheartedly recommend it to any novice. You can drive it very smoothly and in a relaxed manner.
The forthcoming stop is West Central Station.
The coworker can likewise appreciate a crimson traffic light or signal. Certainly, shared suffering is essentially half the burden, just a bit absent-minded in this situation. Sure, we can relax a bit here, as you see. Oh boy, I really need to be significantly more relaxed here on this track. I consistently strive to identify the optimal stopping point so that we can achieve an impeccable stop once more. It used to function so effectively. Man, what is happening? Therefore, I am able to already activate the turn signal as a precautionary measure. We are required to make a left turn here in the direction of the central train station, and we can already observe it in all its magnificence, albeit somewhat obscured by the trees. I would like to turn off now. Oh well, we have to anyway. We still have 50 seconds until the next traffic light change. We have time. Well, if this situation persists, we'll eventually make up the time later regardless. Up to this particular point, I must also emphasize positively that at the present moment there are no significant issues with the artificial intelligence or the AI-driven traffic systems. They have been rather forgiving, only honking on a single occasion. Sure, I must say, absolutely. Nevertheless, otherwise, up until this particular moment, knock on wood, no person has driven through us yet. Up to now, no unseen vehicles have collided with the man, or even worse, unseen pedestrians. That's always my nightmare. That has frequently driven me absolutely crazy here in the past as well.
The upcoming stop is the main station, where you will find connections to lines 101 and 102.
So, as I previously mentioned, we will now come to a halt on the right-hand side at the alternative stop, and subsequently make our loop back over the main railway tracks. Man, they have allocated an excessive amount of time for this particular stop. Or is it necessary for me to halt once more directly at the main station itself? Let's try this. Let's go ahead and remove Winker from the situation. I'm not entirely certain at this moment, and I prefer not to linger here for an extended period. We are currently positioned on the primary road designated for the tram in any case, and that's acceptable if you possess this DLC. Okay, now I'm curious to see if we have to stop there again, though I can't really imagine it. But as I said, I've only driven this route with this loop once as a test, and it was exactly at this loop that it crashed, broke down, and failed. Let's observe if we experience greater fortune here today, shall we? So, he is already making the announcement for the subsequent stop, which indicates that there is indeed a through track available for us at this moment, but it is presently red, which I believe is not favorable. Well, I guess we need to be a bit patient here right now. Consequently, I took advantage of the opportunity provided by the signal phase to quickly activate fan number 2 at this particular location. Ladies and gentlemen, on this island the temperature has notably decreased to a modest 35 degrees, yet the area persistently continues to warm up as the day progresses. Fortunately, it's not nearly as severe as the entire previous week, and even within this current week, the temperatures are anticipated to decrease slightly, which I consider to be quite merciful. Can I somehow trigger it now? This signal phase is definitely too long for me here. Greetings. Is it experiencing a malfunction, or is it designed to function in this manner? Hello there, my friend. We truly need to reach Konstanzgasse in just a couple of minutes. But there's absolutely nothing happening here since I occasionally have to leave from this location. It doesn't matter. Then the combo is done now. My god, that's how it is. However, we really need to proceed as this is excessively lengthy and it simply isn't effective, my friends. I mean, we did indeed want to eventually arrive at some point, I think. Nothing's happening again, folks? Folks, it's not helping. We must. Hello? Is this currently happening? Folks, is there presently an error occurring? Kindly write to me in the comments section, as this cannot be right. This isn't normal at all. Alright, here we proceed once more. As I previously mentioned, kindly inform me in the comments section if there is presently a bug at the main station. Is there an error occurring, or must I switch manually, especially now after the updates? I'm uncertain. As I previously mentioned, kindly leave objective remarks. Thank you very much. The favorable lead we had, with the time advantage, has unfortunately fizzled out. It's just vanished. Yes, the next red light isn't taking long to appear either. Oh, got lucky this time. Certainly, take note here, we are approaching Konstanzgasse almost precisely to the very second. Let us determine if we are able to recover what was taken away from us at the primary station. Let's avoid any commotion here, right after the doors are securely closed. Departure. We previously crossed the upper ring, now we move to the lower ring. Quite nice.
Next stop, lower ring.
And immediately, the subsequent stop signal appears. However, there is the stop just ahead, therefore I am optimistic that we will be back on schedule soon. Therefore, if it continues to operate smoothly, we will certainly, from time to time, just on a whim, when I feel inclined, gladly drive here once more. I would gladly expand the network again, however, I will naturally develop and build it a bit differently this time than I did before. We have a bit more background knowledge now. Yes, and then we'll see what happens. Perfect stop. It works after all. How am I standing here now for the perfect stop? Most likely precisely on target, am I mistaken? Or was it indeed simpler previously to accomplish a perfect stop? Honestly, no kidding. It appears significantly more challenging to me these days to achieve a perfect stop. We previously managed them consecutively, but it's entirely acceptable. Achieving a perfect stop is intended to be a challenge. So everything is fine. I was just wondering... Indeed, I configured it in that manner, with the route here having a 10-minute interval, and it is functioning quite effectively. You can also observe it from the colleagues approaching us. I believe it's quite an exceptional rhythm up to this point. There are no traffic jams, no tram delays, or any other form of traffic congestion whatsoever. You can certainly mention that positively as well.
The next stop on our route is Davidsweg.
I am already beyond it. Oh no, my apologies. Darn, I wasn't paying attention. Yes, stay alert, right? Even the city of Tramau itself, correct? I find it rather beautiful. However, as I mentioned, it's simply my personal preference. I have a preference for driving in actual cities due to the recognition value they offer, especially if you have lived there yourself or at the very least visited them. There's truly nothing better than being able to say, wow, I'm driving in my own city now. For instance, on the bus, it's genuinely quite cool. In my old hometown in Hamburg, I can drive the city buses. It's a cool thing, right? Or in Berlin, I've been there too, where my uncle used to live, so I know a few things here and there. That's quite wonderful indeed, because you discover one thing or another here that you can remember, which, of course, you don't encounter with a fictional city, as beautiful as Tramo might be. It is exceptionally well crafted. Let's not diminish anything from it. Tramau is indeed beautiful, yet it remains a fictional city. So, we are reaching David's Way. Yes, we are on time again here, no stress. We even possess a slight buffer once more. Wow, Dad truly accelerated here. I believe it is appropriate for us to close the doors at this point and proceed forward.
The subsequent stop is Toriyama Avenue.
It already has such an Asian resonance. It appears that we are approaching the conclusion of our brief tour today. Is the whole neighborhood named so Japanese, right? With the trees here. I find that very beautiful, by the way. So now we can see here already. Oh, now it's getting bumpy here. What's going on? What transpired? Why is it jolting at this moment? There's not even any traffic. Why is it so bumpy here now? Does he have too much to eat here on the trees? Does he need too much power for that? Please don't say that's the case. Was it truly the trees at this particular moment in time? Honestly, everyone, I possess the liberty to do whatever I wish, and even if I engage the brakes, I still can't manage to end up being tardy in this location. Dude, that is an illustration of something quite fascinating, these intricate details. You are aware, I have a keen interest in details. Additionally, all the leaves present here from the lilac trees, or please correct me if I'm mistaken, are they cherry trees? I'm not a tree expert, for heaven's sake. However, the individual leaves that are visible here, which you can observe around the tree, are something I'm just noticing for the very first time. Well, we hadn't ventured into this particular corner of the map yet. Well, this is somewhat comparable to Chinatown in Tramo, I would propose, or perhaps Japantown, although I'm not entirely certain. Toriyama sounds rather Japanese, doesn't it? That appears to be more comparable to Japantown, wouldn't you agree? Or perhaps it's something similar with the lady back there, whom I can see in the rearview mirror. Does she have the intention to get in or not? She is still in the process of contemplating, and I'm not entirely certain, but there's definitely about a minute remaining for her to make a decision. So, young lady, you still have the opportunity to board the vehicle. If I keep driving at this current speed, I'll likely end up rear-ending the vehicle in front of me, correct? We need to reduce our speed a bit. However, this isn't line 7, or did I mention 103? I just noticed it as we drove past. Well, I thought I read something different up front, but I might be mistaken. You don't always pay attention to these details when driving by.
The subsequent stop is at that location. All right, proceeding with driving.
We are swiftly nearing the final destination. Oh, observe, we have a green traffic light approaching, so let's accelerate and cross swiftly. The rush hour is beginning here. Where shall we proceed next? To the left. Everyone, you are capable of driving. Don't forget you are capable of driving here. Thank you. And here we are, arriving at Shu Inakamura Platz. Earlier, when I commenced the game or the line, I almost made a humorous slip of the tongue and nearly said sushi. I mean, it would be fitting if it were Japanese, but sometimes the mind plays tricks on you. So, here we are. Perfect stop. Thank you. Another impeccable stop at the conclusion. Wonderful. Now there's a break period here and I'll allow a colleague to drive back. That was another current glimpse at the present state of the City Transport Simulator, in this instance, City Transport Simulator Tram. As I mentioned, you won't observe buses here, apologies, but I'm out of that. Still, best regards to my dear colleague, whom I would like to recommend to you once more, Nplay, dear Ansgar, all the best with the game, also with the DLC, with the bus DLC. And yes, greetings friends, if you enjoyed it, feel free to show some love, give a thumbs up, ring the bell, and feel free to subscribe. And yes, I express my gratitude for watching and say farewell until next time. Take care.